Hunters, your attention.
Well, I think we all saw that coming a mile off. If you missed it, the legendary black dragon Fatalis has been announced as not just the next, but final title update for Iceborne on October 1st. It was a move that we all fairly anticipated since, where do you escalate things from Alatreon, really? Now I'm sure some of you may have read up on Fatalis and heard the hype about what is one of the strongest beasts in the Monster Hunter universe, so we're not here to postulate power tiers or rankings according to the lore that some 12-year-old dredged up for Reddit karma. No, what we're going to do is take a look at the unique features of the various fights, and also a small look at the weapons. So without further ado, here's an idea of what to expect with Fatalis. Fatalis, or Fatty here, was introduced back in the right analog stick days of Monster Hunter 1, as the secret final fight of the since shut down online mode. In typical old world Elder Dragon fashion, victory was often achieved by dealing enough damage to repel him within 15 minutes. This damage then carried over, meaning that multiple rounds of a single quest were required to eventually get the kill. This system has, however, by and large been done away with. Last time I remember seeing it was with Rusted Kushala in 4 Ultimate, so I wouldn't expect that in 5th gen. Old school Fatalis was a hell of a grind, with some theories mentioning that the original Monster Hunter 1 version had a health pool approaching 7 digits, and any dramatic changes to this weren't implemented until his appearance in 4th gen. Attack-wise, you would only really see the odd claw swipe, body slam, and a tail whip for melee, with Fatalis preferring to bombard unlucky parties with fireballs, both from the ground and the sky. 1st gen wasn't all that varied, and often parties would resort to cluster runs if the Black Dragon was being particularly annoying. However, a final point to make about this is the infamous snap and drag attack. This occurred often without warning, where Fatalis would snake forward, closing the distance between it and you. This attack was an insta-kill, one that had full power regardless of which body part hit you. Standing by the tail tip? You're dead. Grazed by an errant toenail? Sorry buddy, press F. Did Fatalis breathe a bit too hard near you? Gathering hub in the sky, you get the idea. Conversely, from the Nintendo era, Fatalis went through some huge changes. It could now be reasonably killed in a single round, and added more fire-based moves to its arsenal, such as sweeping beams and an explosive powder that it would detonate in straight lines. Alongside this, Fatalis went airborne a lot less and gained the ability to combo a few of his fireballs to aerial attacks. Now, with all this hype and a revised hunt, you would imagine that this Fatalis was a battle of epic proportions, fast-paced and well-designed. Well lads, let me tell you, it sure as hell wasn't. You see, despite all these fancy new attacks and updated AI, it doesn't change the fact that Fatalis was a slow HP sponge, with a head so high up you needed a shuttle to reach it. A real shame, when there's a hit zone that's 80% weak to dragon hiding up there. The main accessible region was the back legs and the lower chest, which, well, you can see for yourself. You know, this is pretty much the exact same garbage that I said about Alatreon, and that turned out to be an incredible fight. Since 5th gen has done wonderful things for a lot of returning monsters, I'm going to cross my fingers for a revamped encounter that rewards players who have taken the time to practice and improve. It is HR 100 after all. Okay, so we're expecting a lot of health, powerful fire-based attacks, as well as very dangerous close-range melee attacks. Snore, yawn, please make it better, let's move on. Castle Schrade is our next topic, the roost of choice for Fatalis and the arena that you fight it in. Tied into the fairy tales that are handed down from encounters with this monster, it's rumoured that Fatalis took up residence here after evicting the previous landlord through a lot of scorching and screaming and stuff, which is great, since there's a few extra features here to ensure that it isn't just another Ingle Isle. In Monster Hunter 1, 4 different quests were available for Fatalis, all with different quest fees, all in the aforementioned castle. Essentially, the more that you paid, the more artillery was available to you. Quest 1 only had the ballistas in the castle gate, whilst Quest 2 grants you entrance to the courtyard. If Fatalis walks through the gateway to this area, the gate will close on top of it, dealing high damage. Quest 3 opened up the cannons, and Quest 4 enabled the use of the steam-powered Dragonator. Much like a lot of things with MH1, this was done away with in favour of having all but the gate trap available in a single quest in 4th gen. Schrade itself went through a fair redesign at this time, with a large, uneven floor added so that hunters can use the totally not intrusive ledges. It's going to be a fair bet that a lot of these features will be available to us, since the General has confirmed
Weapons from its last stand are still on site.
Finally, the gear. That's right, more dragon weapons. Typically they needed handicraft to reach purple, which went hand in hand with the usual handicraft skill found on Fatalis armor. However, an interesting thing to note is that they often had 3 slots. It'll be interesting, if this is carried over, to see how this will be reflected in the 5th gen system. One particular fond favourite of mine was the Black Fatalis blade from 4U, which stood with powerhouses like the Rhodes edition and the incredible Cirrus Symmetry as a top tier greatsword. High expectations indeed for this beast, and who knows, maybe we could see some of the craziness that Frontiers Fatalis gave us. For those of you who didn't know, Frontier Fatalis leaned towards the regeneration aspect that the monster was alleged to possess, with an armor skill known as Dark Pulse. Upon fainting, you would revive, and continue to fight with extra buffs as well as a resistance to any and all forms of knockback. This effect would constantly drain your health, however, leading to a cart within 1 minute of the skill activating. Who knows, maybe we'll see a nod to that somewhere. And there we have it, a look back at the history of the Fatalis fight. Hopefully this can give us an idea of all the possible inspirations that Capcom can draw on for our October showdown. Are you excited for the fight? What else would you like to know? Let me know in those comments or on Twitter. As a side note, I've also recently been playing a lot of GU on stream, and I'd love for you to join me sometime. Alright, see you next time lads.